My name is Hugo Almeida. I'm a biologist by training, but for the last 3 years or so, I've been working as a comics artist and scholar. So at IMéRA, I'm producing a comic book which is about evolution, and I'm doing it in collaboration with two groups of evolutionary biology. The Evolution of Morphology and Development Lab at IBDM, and with Michael Kopp, who's a theoretical biologist. And the idea is to sort of reproduce the rhetoric and the visual discourse of evolutionary biologists in a comic book. I have a personal relationship with comics. I've always read comics. I've always been interested in making comics and reading comics. And since most of my formal education is actually in biology, I sort of became aware during my training that there were several interesting aspects in how biologists communicate, how they produce stories through images. So my interests in comics and in biology, they're not the same. They don't come exactly from the same place, but it is an advantage. So to be able to work in a creative field such as comics allows me to address subjects, really address any other subject. And since one of my other interests is biology and evolution, I guess it's kind of like a match made in heaven in that sense. For me, comics are both a model for visual communication, but they're also an end in itself, because I am concerned with the formal aspects of making comics and communicating through comics. I'm interested on, the big question of what are comics and how can we expand the idea of comics. In that sense, using scientific communication as a field of comparison allows me to make that expansion in ways that I feel have not been addressed yet in the field. I mean, there are other people in comics who are doing comics that are related to diagrammatic forms of communicating visually, but as far as I know, there hasn't really been anyone who's been specifically interested in that aspect in biology specifically. IMéRA is special in the sense that it focuses on interdisciplinary work. So my work as a comic book artist is interdisciplinary, and even as a comic scholar is interdisciplinary in the sense that I'm concerned with visual communication and how comics are a sort of model for more general concerns of visual communication, which can also be related to communication in science. And since my education is in biology, I feel like I have the tools to make that sort of comparative study. The fact that I have access to biology labs with different sort of specificities in Marseille allows me to do this work in a way that I probably wouldn't be able to do elsewhere, in the sense that I have the institutional support and the kind of knowledge that I lack even as a biologist to do something like this.